had to stick up for the president? What was the situation?
One of the things that I have to do is I have to deal in politics a lot. And politics sometimes is Republicans versus Democrats. You know, I'm not gonna give you my sense of Democrats and Republicans right now. I'm just going to answer your question, because what happens a lot is that this president, when he is attacked by people about either the economy or war or health care or education or whatever, part of my job is to make sure that whether I go on TV or go up to Congress or even in other parts of the country, part of my responsibility is to stand up for him and have his back all the time. Usually when I get into a discussion with someone who doesn't like the president and attacks him, and this is something that I think all of you should, whether it's in politics or not, what I do always is to try to understand why that person feels the way they do. I don't just defend right away. I don't just, you know, tell them they're wrong. I don't just say that they don't know what they're talking about. I don't just attack back. Because what you need to always do in order to be smart about what you're doing, and when I'm defending the president, is to really ask people why they think what they do, to try to really understand what's motivating them. And then once you do that, it gives me the ability to really have the president's back and make sure that then they can understand why I believe that Barack Obama has been such a good president over the course of the past 7 years. Here's the other thing that I love about working for the president. As I said to you, my parents came from Portugal before I was born. And so, as you know, President Obama's father came from Kenya. So he's first generation too. He understands the immigrant experience. And one day in 2009, I actually went, and it was the first time I'd ever gone on Air Force One, which is one of the coolest things ever. So we flew on Air Force One to Portugal, which was my parents' home, where they immigrated from. And on the final day that we were there in the capital of Lisbon, in the presidential palace there, all of a sudden I'm walking down the hall and the president says, "Simas, where are you?" And so that made me a little bit nervous, because that's not a normal thing for him to just say that. And I told him where I was. He came up to me and he walked me up to the reporters there, the Portuguese reporters, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen of Portugal, I want to introduce you to one of my advisors, David Simas, whose parents are from Portugal." It was, for me, one of the most moving experiences of my life, because all I could think about was my parents and how much they suffered and sacrificed for me. And there I was with the President of the United States in Portugal being introduced to that country. Here's where it tells you a little bit about Barack Obama, though. On the flight back on Air Force One, he came back into the plane, and I said, "Mr. President, why did you do that? Why did you do that very nice thing?" And what he said to me was, "David, I remember when I went to Kenya. I remember how much it meant to my family there, and it meant to me, and I just wanted you and your family to have that same experience." It was one of the nicest things that anybody has ever done for me. And so the reason I'm mentioning that is, when I defend the president, I do it not only because I agree with him on the things that he does, but also because I know him to be one of the most decent people and kind people that I've ever met, which is why it's great to defend him and work for him also. So thanks for that question.